What is attraction? It's a very strange thing to think about as a married man for over 25 years. Attraction when I was single was all about attracting the opposite sex, attracting attention for the things that I wanted. And then when I got married, it took on a new role. I actually put it in the closet, so to speak, because how do you deal with attraction when you have the one that you want, when you are married and happy and there's no need to attract anyone else as far as relationships? But as you get older, you realize that attraction is really wanting something and attracting it to you, acting in a certain manner that attracts something to you as opposed to repelling it. So, to go a little deeper into my story, I went to work at a casino when I was in my early 20s, and that's actually where I didn't have to, but I had to deal with the attraction thing. And so I was a cashier. I kind of felt in the flow and I started flirting with not my coworkers but the customers, but it was really a playfulness. I didn't see it as flirting at first. It was a playfulness to where I would make jokes and just, in my opinion, when you go to a casino and your cashier, all they can do is cash you out. They can't change the machines, they can't change anything that's happening. But I was like, well, I guess it's the equivalent of eating at a restaurant and eating at a fine dining experience. It's the interaction, it's the environment. And since a casino creates an environment to attract people, I decided I would be more, not attractive, but just like more in line with the environment, more, I can't think of the word, but essentially like more pleasing to the customer, to the environment. Like I couldn't help if you were losing, but I could definitely change your experience. And so I played with that thought, and then I realized, okay, I'm kind of flirting with these older women who were at the casino. I was in my 20s, and a lot of the women in 30s and 40s I was playfully flirting with. But I was also found myself, I'm straight and there's nothing wrong with anything, as long as it makes you happy and it doesn't hurt anybody else. But I also used that with men. I was being very playful and but like from like a bravado like kind of area. So it was really weird to try to question all this and really figure out where does sexuality come into play with all this. And then I realized that it doesn't. The same energy that you use when you're attracting clients, when you're attracting customers, when you're attracting coworkers, cohorts, someone to do something with you, like if you're creating something, or even like just really relationship wise, friends, when you're trying to attract these things, you're acting in a certain way. You're trying to be a people pleaser, or you're trying to, do what you think they want. But at the end of the day, all of this is just trying to attract. And society has a way of demonizing sexuality to the fact of you had to fit in a certain box with what you choose or how you choose to portray yourself. But then at the same time, behind closed doors, they manipulate that sexuality to get you to buy products and using attraction and passion and whatnot. But then you've got passion too, which when you're pursuing your passions, you're attracting things. So really attraction to me is an energy of knowing what you want and pursuing it. And it is, for lack of a better word, manipulation. But it's how you do it. It really shows your personality. Like if you manipulate things to get what you want at the detriment of others, then you are actually, it's not for the greater good. But that's why I say, if it makes you happy and it doesn't harm others and it doesn't harm yourself, then it's the pursuit of happiness. It's the pursuit of your passions, pursuit of what you feel is right for you. I just kind of wanted to talk about how to view this attraction. So back to the casino analogy, when I was there, I learned to balance that and realize that, because, okay, when you're married, when you're looking for your significant other, the opposite sex or whatever sex you choose, they are potential suitors. But when you finally have the person that you've chosen, you become married, then all of a sudden, what do these people do for you? What is their reason for being in your life? It's kind of like if I'm not, so I might say for women, in my situation, all of a sudden I didn't know how to talk to women because it's like, well, am I flirting with other women? How do I talk to them now that I'm not treating them as a potential suitor? How do I change my relationship with women, without feeling like I'm disrespecting or dishonoring my wife? And so in doing so, I kind of just closed down and I didn't have very many female friends, which is funny because I was raised by I was raised by my grandparents and my aunt more so than my dad. My dad was in the picture, but my aunt and my grandmother really stepped up for the actual raising of me. I love my dad, and it's just where he was and it's where I was. And then when I went to live with my mom in Wisconsin, in California, Wisconsin, I actually bonded with my mom really tight, and more so than my stepdad. I love my stepdad, but just the raising part, like that bonding where you are learning from that person. So I've always been better around women than men, and then with men you feel like you have to be macho and tough. The times have changed. I'm talking about in like the 90s when I was a kid. I was born in 1980. So growing up though, my trying to be around men was just trying to like show up or show off. So I felt more at ease with women because I was a child. And then as I got older, the relationships that I sought, and then like I said, you hit a point to where you feel closed off from the world and you want to connect. So in trying to connect, you open up to things that you had tried to hide away. So as I started to reform a relationship, obviously it's easier to talk to older women and then connect because they're mother figures, grandmother figures. So as I did all that and I started learning and balancing all this, but the reason I bring it up now is because after leaving that environment, I didn't have to do the attraction. I didn't have to do the magnetic, and I actually developed it on my own. And now that I'm in a position to where, I'm taking on clients as a coach, I'm working on projects to create courses to help others. Now that I'm in service and I'm really like, it's not just something I do on the side. It's not some side gig or something I do occasionally as a hobby. It's actually me trying to step into my power of being there for others, of helping others, teaching others, growing others, leading others, especially in the leader aspect. You have to have an attractiveness to get people to follow you, whether it be a chemical or an emotional, energetical exchange. You are leading others. I'm laughing because I thought of chemical exchanges and leaders. Some of that old young mindset of mine. Also like perversion. There's nothing wrong with being a pervert as long as you're not creepy about it, as long as you know your boundaries and you understand the limits and where people feel comfortable when it comes to joking. Because it's, we have our boundaries and our borders and we should never cross other people's borders intentionally. But as I grow older and your body chemistry changes, I'm not nearly as, I have the perverted sense of humor. It's still there, but it's not active very much. It's not necessary. Hormones are a lot lower than they used to be. But in retrospect, the concept of being a leader, when you're, anything that you do that you take charge as a leader, especially if you don't want to be the leader, but you know that leadership is needed, which makes you the best suited leader because you're not going to be egotistical or power hungry. But in becoming a leader, you have to attract others. You have to lead by example. You have to show them the way, and you have to be confident. So there's a lot of things that are connected to sexuality, but have been manipulated and overtaken by the concept of sex cells. So really in balancing all this, and you realize that you can step into your power, you can lead, you can be magnetic to others without having to worry about sexuality. It's okay. It's okay to lead and to step into your power as long as you manage the same way that egotistical. Like, it's okay to be empowered to step into your power as long as you don't abuse it. And I've had a fear of not giving into my power, but taking charge of my power, because I was afraid to become egotistical, in the same way that I was afraid at a young age, in my 20s, to flirt, because I was afraid that I was dishonoring my wife. And I've always thought, people are capable of many things. It's a situation that you put yourself in and the things that you blind yourself to. So would this be a path towards eventually possibly cheating on my wife, because I was flirting and using my attraction to attract others and to create a better experience for the customer? And realizing, though, if you look at your history and you look at who you are at your core, when you step into these powers, just like, oh, if I become rich, I'm going to be some egotistical person who doesn't care about anybody, and I become wealthy and I start to hurt others and I don't care about others. That's not me. These things, when you step into your power, they become more of who you are, and sometimes there's things that pop in and you see them and they're there to be dealt with. They're not there because it's your weakness and that you're going to succumb to it. So when you go into this, you have to realize that stepping into your power to be attractive, to be magnetic, stepping into your power to be abundance, to be rich, stepping into your power to lead others and to magnetize and polarize, and, for lack of a better word, because it's been like manipulate, it's been so stigmatized. But manipulation is really just, when you manipulate energy, you're moving things, and as long as you do it for the greater good of yourself and others, as long as you come from a place of heart, but also use your mind to keep your actions in check, as opposed to letting your mind lead. I feel, in my opinion, that all of these things, all of these ways, if you look at this, that you're dishonoring yourself and you're dishonoring others and the people that you could help change. And maybe you don't see the change. Maybe it happens long after you've seen them, long after you've helped them. And even something as simple as smiling at somebody or complimenting somebody can have a great change on that day. It's a domino effect. So if you don't step into your power, if you keep playing small, if you keep dumbing yourself down, putting yourself in a box, covering your shine, if you do all these things, if you're going through lessons and learning, so be it. But also know that while there is no rush, while time is irrelevant and doesn't truly exist, that the longer you do this, the longer that you don't step into your power, the less people that you can help. Like, the more people that are not getting help from you, not getting your medicine, not getting your knowledge or your love, these people, they need you. Your clients, your fans, your friends, your community, they all need you. So you have to help yourself, work on your things, and just always remember to play big. This particular incarnation, it could be a year, 10 years, 20 years. Who knows how much time you have left or how much time you were planning to be on this earth. I don't know about that, but it's a very short part of existence. So playing small, playing confined really doesn't serve you or the new earth that we're stepping into. So step into your power. Hopefully this has helped you. Hopefully my words have inspired you or possibly caused you to think or to be bothered. And if so, that's perfectly fine. As long as you take something from it, as long as you realize and ask yourself the right questions. You're always asking questions anyways. The brain's always looking for answers. Might as well put it to good use and ask, why did this bother me? Where am I not living my life to my fullest potential? So, drop a comment. See you later. Love you all.